Marksmen ruled the map for months, but now mages are taking over. In this video I'm going to talk about something that is happening, and this is the meta shift and how and understanding why the mage meta start to dominate from the season 4 plus or generation 4 plus, let's say it like this. I'm going to talk about which mage combos outperform definitely the marksmen and what is the best picks in Call of Dragons right now from point of mages, so you can plan your investments and have a second opinion at least over the mages, what is working right now. Speaking about the heroes, I cannot also skip the what artifacts make mages insane. Definitely we see that the artifacts become more and more popular, more and more people start understanding the value of the artifact, and for me baby is the best system right now in Call of Dragons, not the hero levels, it's actually the artifacts. And obviously since I get couple questions about people who are marksmen and want to switch to mages, how to do it, know when to switch from marksmen to mage focus, and some free to play player friendly advices for catching the meta wave. And I personally, as a mage main, I was thinking that mages will never rise again. I mean, with the game picks for generation 4, generation 2 and generation 4, I think actually generation 2 Bertrand Tohar was something very nice that happened in Call of Dragons. I think those heroes are still extremely valuable, but at the end of the day you're seeing the other troops are getting Margaret, are getting Kuma, which one, Urak. I mean, there's just so many other meta heroes that are before generation 4 mages, and you're like, oh my god. I mean, at least that was my feeling, my personal viewing, that the mages are left behind, even though that still is the best troop, but is for one single reason. That was because they're hitting from very far, and I can say this is something like a safe spot to hit the enemy from the very far, but the rest of the things was absolutely horrible, absolutely horrible. So why the mage meta starts dominating in Call of Dragons? So I'm going to go over the mage meta heroes in this video, just short going over these heroes. First obviously is going to be Liliya. Liliya is a meta hero from the season 1, absolutely crazy hero, especially when you have her awakened, and because it's going to hit more targets in general. After Liliya was presented Bertrand Tohar, and I think Tohar is also half meta hero just because of the skills he's having, like 30% hero skill damage, 25% magic attack or keen, which is for 5 seconds, and since he's having passive that is doing solid damage, this thing is going to get triggered way more often. In general, Tohar is very solid hero. The next generation was not that crazy. I mean, Thunderlyn with Liliya. Yeah, I think everybody knows the opinion. I have videos on my channel, you can go and check them out and see what I think about Thunderlyn, what I think about the Liliya. I definitely think Mu outperformed Liliya, even though it's a generation 2 and it's an overall hero. And finally, in the generation 4, we're presented with Yun Ming. Now, this is a huge shift because when you're making your 5 legions, 4 or 5, it didn't actually matter. It strongly depends how much value you can get from each of the heroes, and I'm going to share with you my 4 legions, and I'm going to show you which legions in my opinion right now is a meta legions, and why this shifting is happening, and why I'm actually speaking about marksmen and mages. The first thing is cavalry, infantry cannot be exactly meta if something brutal happened to them, and the game start actually working in this direction, giving us Goresh Kogo, giving us Mogro, which is still one of the best garnisons heroes in the Call of Dragons, and Lee, Kwar and Kuma. This combo is doing crazy amount of damage and is the best combo for the rallies. So you see the best garrison, the best rally, but this is not actually for open field. So still, I think Kuma and Gorish is very valuable in the open field. So I'm going to share with you some of the legions that I'm currently using. This is the legion I'm going to use. Maybe I'm going to remove my head. You have Liliya Velen, you have Bertrand Tohar, you have Thunderlyn Mu, and Yun Ming with Grumara. The final place where there is my Gathering Legion is actually Gorish with Kuma, because I really want to bring one infantry on the battlefield. I just don't want to be from the people who is coming with only with mages or only with marksmen and not supporting the front lines. I think everybody should actually do that. So here the meta legion is actually Liliya Velen and Yun Ming. I think I can actually say Yun Ming with Tohar, not because I'm going to skip Yun Ming some, Yun Ming with Tohar. Even though that I'm using Yun Ming with Grumara, I think if I have to build two meta legions, this is Liliya Velen, Yun Ming with Tohar. Absolutely crazy heroes. Both of these two legions are having artifacts to boost them. So let's actually go and check out the artifacts. Now, speaking about the Liliya, obviously this is going to be Infernal Flame. Why this is so important is just because it's this additional effect. We're not talking about the damage, okay? Additional effect is going to give you 30% magic attack bonus for 5 seconds. This effect can be triggered every 10 seconds. So just by applying the Scorch on the enemy and having Liliya Awakening, she's going to hit 3 targets. You have 50% chance to apply Scorch. So there is a 150% chance to apply Scorch over the enemy. Obviously you may not apply, you may apply, but it's a very solid chance to apply Scorch. And if you have a Celestials as a troop, this is going to boost the magic attack bonus of Celestials. We know Celestials how much more stronger are from the Vestals, and boosting the magic attack is also going to boost rest of the skills of the hero. So you're having to this meta legion also an artifact, and that was so far what we was having in Call of Dragons for 3 generations. And to happen this meta shift, you actually need more. And this is coming in the eyes of the next hero, which is Yun Ming. I think I make so many videos about with the testings, with the reports of the Dragon's Fate. I'm going to even show you some reports. I really want to, make more reports video. Let's say it like this. Yeah, you can see that currently this is hitting infantry. It's only 2 infantry. Actually, yeah, it's like 3 infantry hit by this artifact. Here we're having extra 2, or maybe it's like 5 infantry. I really don't know. You're seeing the rest of the artifacts, how much damage and how much Dragon Fate are doing. But it's not only the damage here, it's also the additional effect that this artifact, like for the Liliya, the first Meta Legion, is giving for Yun Ming. And this is 100% probability chance to do 120 extra damage. This effect can be triggered every 2 seconds, and if you check the spell of Yun Ming, you're going to see that this effect can be triggered every 2 seconds. So basically his hit is going to be also with artifact hit, which make this combo crushing meta. Okay, so you're having four legions, 4 generations, and from these 4 generations you're actually having 2 meta legions, and this is from where the shifts are coming. Yes, some people are going to say, what about Gores Kogo, what about Kuma Lee Kwan? But yes, these legions are important, but at the end of the day, if you're having so many infantry mains and again, it's just 2 legions, because I cannot say Mogro is crazy on open field or downfield. Now some people are going to say in the chat, no, Mogro is in this situation doing this, but Mogro and downfield cannot actually pair with Gores Kogo or Kuma League 1. So not many people are willing to go in the infantry, and to have a meta switch you need the mass players troop type to compare it. Because yeah, we can also speak for the cavalry, but if you see one alliance with the cavalry, you're going to notice maybe there is like 5-10 players that are cavalry main. And if there is a more cavalry main, there's not going to be anybody on the battlefield in form of mages and marksmen who is actually doing the push. You need those people, you need this infantry, you need these mages, you need these marksmen to actually make the push. Cavalry is fun, cavalry is giving so much merits, that's correct, but if everybody's jumping to be cavalry main, you're not going to be able to do that much like you can actually do with mages, marksmen and infantry. At least this is my opinion, since cavalry are very squishy, and if you block them with one infantry, the mages is just going to destroy the cavalry legions. So yeah, in one alliance you can see a cavalry like 5-10 people, but cavalry cannot be actually meta switch in my personal opinion. It should be either marksmen or mages, and right now from the playthrough we're having, or I can say little advantage of the mages that was having so far, right now the advantage are basically crushing. It's way more. So we're speaking, we already talk about the mage method in the season for the season 4 plus, what kind of mage combos outperform. I show you the two, I show you the artifacts that make those mages insane, and let's talk about when to switch from marksman to mage focus. I'm going to start with this. I already present the two legions, which is Liliya Velen and Yun Ming. Yun Ming, you can basically pair him with with any hero. This hero is chameleon, let's say it like this. So if you want to switch from marksman, I definitely get Liliya and awake her. This is one of the things, and you can pair her with Velen. Now awakened Velen is not that important for Liliya Velen combo, because it's actually getting extra damage if the target is having frozen effect, which frozen effect is actually this passive skill, 20% chance to inflict a magic defense break and hair frost. You need this hair frost. Velen are working perfectly well with Wodir, because and Wodir as commander, because Wodir is going to freeze couple legions and Velen is going to get this extra damage. But for Liliya Velen, the main synergy here is actually coming from the critical rate that the Velen is having. Velen is having 10% mage hero skill damage critical rate. This is the passive, and Liliya from the skill talent tree is going to get extra 10%. So you're getting like 20%, I mean 10% chance to get 10% critical rate for 5 seconds. So overall you're getting critical rates here and so much damage. So if you're switching from marksmen to mages, Liliya Velen is one of the ways, or you can go Liliya Thea. I really like Liliya Thea, also very solid composition. And the other one is Yun Ming with Tohar, for example, or Yun Ming with whatever you're building, because again I get like 4 or 5 questions from the marksman mains asking me how to switch to mages, and you can do it one legion by one. This is the way. And do I actually suggest that? The short answer is strongly depend how much you have invested in the marksmen. If it's your work for the past 2 years, and right now we're shifting to the mages meta, I don't think it's actually deserved to. I don't think people should actually switch just because of that. There is a different gameplays that you can use with the marksmen, but yeah, at the end of the day, if you want to switch to mages, this is the mages I recommend. Yun Ming and Liliya, this is the two mages. You can pair it with something else that you already have built. It can be Liliya Tohar, it's a very solid combo also. About the free-to-play, I'm not so sure it's going to be a good idea. First of all, I don't think it's a good idea as a free-to-play player to actually focus over the mages. I get questions, should I actually focus over the infantry as free-to-play? Well, No. I mean, infantry, no. Maybe mages or cavalry. This is what I can actually suggest people to do. But yeah, right now we're witnessing something absolutely wild in Call of Dragons, and I'm so excited because, you know, I'm from the side that is going to benefit from all this thing. So yeah, this is in general is going to be for this video. I just wanted to share with you my thoughts over meta shift in Call of Dragons, and right now the mages are the dominant troop in the game. So yeah, don't forget to hit one like on the video if you get some value. If you don't, hit one like, again, it's free. You can subscribe if you're new here. If you're watching or you're old viewer, you can already know what to do. I wish you a great day, guys, and see you in the next video.